All right, so get this. What if, when we looked up at the night sky, we didn't just see the moon and stars, but another planet, a super-Earth called Kepler-22b, right here in our solar system?
Whoa, that's a pretty wild thought.
Hmm.
Kepler-22b is a real exoplanet, but it's hundreds of light years away.
Yeah, exactly. So for this deep dive, we're going to pretend it's way closer, like right in our neighborhood, and explore what that would mean.
Okay, I'm game. So where do we start?
How about the basics? What exactly is a super-Earth, and how does Kepler-22b fit into that?
Okay, so basically a super-Earth is a planet that's bigger than Earth, but smaller than Neptune. And Kepler-22b, it's about 2.4 times the size of Earth.
Okay, so that makes it a super-Earth for sure. But what would that mean for, like, its gravity and atmosphere?
Well, gravity, for one, would be way stronger on Kepler-22b, and it would most likely have a thicker, denser atmosphere than ours.
I see. So it's kind of like Earth, but supersized.
You got it. Now, let's place this supersized Earth into our solar system. Where would it fit?
Ooh, that's a good question. Where do you think it would go?
The most logical spot would be somewhere between Mars and Jupiter, maybe hanging out near the asteroid belt.
Whoa, hold on. So you're saying this massive planet would be chilling with all those asteroids?
Yep, picture that, a super-Earth right there, among all that space debris.
Makes that asteroid field in Star Wars seem even more intense.
Yeah.
And now I'm really picturing it, and it gets me thinking, if Kepler-22b was that close, would we be able to see it?
Oh, absolutely.
Huh?
It would be visible to the naked eye.
No way.
Yeah.
We'd actually be able to see it in the sky. What would it look like?
Well, we can only speculate, but based on what we know, it might appear as this big blue or green orb, possibly even bigger than Jupiter.
Wow, now that's a sight I'd love to see. Okay, so we've got this massive blue or green planet hanging out near the asteroid belt. But for this thought experiment, we're also putting it in our solar system's habitable zone, right?
That's right, the sweet spot where a planet could potentially have liquid water.
Okay, so let's unpack this habitable zone thing. What makes it so special? Why is it so important for life?
It all boils down to water. In the habitable zone, temperatures are just right. Not too hot, not too cold. So liquid water can exist, and liquid water is essential for the kind of life we know.
Gotcha. So if Kepler-22b was in our habitable zone, what kind of climate could it have?
It's tough to say for sure, but based on its size and potential atmosphere, it could range from temperate to tropical, maybe even warmer than Earth.
So picture this Kepler-22b hanging out near the asteroid belt, a big blue or green orb in the sky, possibly with a warm and humid climate. Pretty exotic, right?
Sounds like it, but there's one more piece of the puzzle. We haven't talked about its atmosphere.
Oh, right. The atmosphere. What do we know about that?
Honestly, not a whole lot. We don't have any concrete data on Kepler-22b's atmosphere yet. But because of its size, scientists think it could have a really dense, thick atmosphere, probably rich in hydrogen and helium.
Okay, so what would that mean for the planet? Would it affect how light reaches the surface?
Definitely. A thick atmosphere could scatter light in all sorts of ways. It could give the planet that blue or green tint we were talking about, and it could also create a pretty intense greenhouse effect, making it even warmer and more humid.
So we've got this possible super Earth-warm climate, thick atmosphere, and it's visible in our sky. This is seriously mind-boggling.
And it brings up the biggest question of all. Could there be life on Kepler-22b?
Now, that's the million-dollar question. What are the chances? And what kind of life are we talking about here?
Well, it's impossible to know for sure. But some scientists believe that given its potential for water and a stable climate, Kepler-22b could host life, even if it's just microbial life, in the oceans or maybe even in the clouds.
So maybe no little green men running around,
Yeah.
but maybe some tiny organisms doing their thing.
Exactly. It might not be the kind of life we see in the movies,
Mm-hmm.
but finding even simple life forms on another planet would be a monumental discovery.
It would completely change everything, wouldn't it? Our whole understanding of our place in the universe.
Absolutely. It would be a game changer. And that leads us to the next question. How would we even figure out if there is life on Kepler-22b?
Well, we can't just pop over there for a visit, so what tools do we have?
Analyzing the planet's atmosphere is key. We'd be looking for specific gases, like oxygen or methane. These could be signs of biological activity, like chemical fingerprints left behind by living things.
So we'd be studying the light that reaches us from Kepler-22b, looking for these telltale signs.
Exactly. Like doing a long-distance health check, using light as our diagnostic tool.
That's pretty amazing. And if we did find those signs...
It would set off a scientific frenzy. Think about it. More advanced telescopes, robotic missions, maybe even crewed missions someday.
Wow, humans setting foot on a planet that could potentially have life. It's the stuff of science fiction.
It might seem that way,
Yeah.
but it's the kind of scenario that really fuels our curiosity and pushes us to explore what's possible.
Okay, I'm totally on board with this hypothetical Kepler-22b, but aside from the possibility of life, what else could this planet offer us?
Well, what about resources? Space exploration is resource intensive. Having a planet full of resources relatively nearby could be a game changer.
Okay, now you've got my attention. What kind of resources are we talking about?
Well, for starters, its atmosphere might contain things we need for life support, like water vapor or carbon dioxide. We might also find materials that could be used as fuel for spacecraft, making longer space journeys more realistic.
So Kepler-22b could be like a cosmic pit stop.
Exactly. And it's not just about practicality. Think about the scientific possibilities. Having a planet like Kepler-22b so close would be a gold mine for what we call comparative planetology.
Okay, I'll admit, you've lost me there. What's comparative planetology?
It's basically the study of how planets form and evolve
Yeah.
by comparing them to each other. And with Kepler-22b right there, we could study its geology, its atmosphere, how it's changed over time, and compare all that to Earth's history.
So we'd have this incredible opportunity to learn about planets by having a second one right there to study.
Precisely. It would be like having a giant planetary laboratory right next door.
Okay, so we've got a potential second home, a cosmic pit stop, and a giant science lab all rolled into one. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Are there any downsides to having a super Earth like Kepler-22b as a neighbor?
That's a great question. And it's important to remember that this scenario wouldn't be all sunshine and roses. There are definitely some potential risks.
Okay, so what are we talking about?
One of the biggest concerns would be its gravity. Introducing a planet as massive as Kepler-22b into our solar system could disrupt the gravitational balance that's kept things relatively stable for billions of years.
So it could mess with the orbits of other planets, including Earth?
Exactly. We'd have to study its gravitational influence very carefully to understand the potential consequences. It could also stir up the asteroid belt, maybe sending more asteroids hurtling towards us.
Okay, so it's not all fun and games. There are some real risks to think about, but the possibilities are pretty mind-blowing, right?
It's a complex situation with both exciting possibilities and potential dangers.
This deep dive has been incredible. It's amazing how a what-if scenario like this can make you think about so many things.
It's a testament to the power of imagination and the endless mysteries of the universe.
And we're just getting started.
Welcome back. So last time, we left off talking about those potential risks and rewards of having a super Earth so close to home.
Right, but for this part, I kind of want to switch gears a bit and talk about something even bigger. Like, how would discovering a habitable zone planet, a planet that could have life that we can see in our own sky, how would that impact humanity?
Yeah, that's where things get really interesting. We're talking about more than just science here. We're talking about philosophy, sociology, even psychology.
Okay, I'm all ears. Give me the big picture. How would this discovery change how we see ourselves and our place in the cosmos?
Well, for centuries, humans have been asking, are we alone in the universe? Finding a planet like Kepler-22b so close, especially if it showed signs of life, that would completely change our perspective.
I would be like realizing we're not the only ones at the party.
Exactly. And that realization would affect everything. Religion, philosophy, art, even politics. Everything we think and do would be seen through this new lens.
So we're talking about a massive cultural shift, not just a scientific one.
Absolutely. Think about the Copernican revolution. When we realized the Earth wasn't the center of the universe, that changed everything. Discovering life on Kepler-22b would be like that, maybe even bigger.
Wow, that's a pretty powerful comparison. Okay, but let's get down to Earth for a minute. How do you think everyday people would react to this kind of discovery?
I imagine it would be a mix of emotions, awe and excitement for sure, but also probably some fear, anxiety, maybe even denial. It's a lot to take in, realizing we're not alone in the universe.
It's like those alien invasion movies.
Yeah.
Panic and chaos. But then eventually humanity adapts.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. There would definitely be an adjustment period, but I think ultimately it would bring people together. We'd have to confront our shared humanity, our place in the grand scheme of things.
Can you imagine the headlines? First contact with Kepler-22b. Are we ready for alien neighbors? The media would go crazy.
Oh, absolutely. It would be the biggest story in human history. Every telescope would be pointed at Kepler-22b. Every scientist would want to study it. It would dominate the conversation for years. maybe even decades.
And what about space exploration? Would this kick off a new space race? Everyone trying to get to Kepler-22b first?
I think it's inevitable. Imagine the pressure to get there first, to plant a flag on this new world. It would be a whole new frontier, a symbol of national pride and scientific achievement.
I can see it now. International collaborations, giant rockets, maybe even the first human missions to another habitable planet. It's both thrilling and a little scary.
Yeah, it would be a huge undertaking. But think about the potential benefits. A renewed focus on space exploration could lead to all kinds of breakthroughs, new technologies, new energy sources, maybe even solutions to problems here on Earth.
It's funny how even this hypothetical scenario makes us think about these big questions.
Mm.
What is our destiny? Are we meant to explore the stars?
Those are questions that have always driven us.
Mm.
And having a planet like Kepler-22b so close would be like an invitation to go out there and find out. It would be a challenge, but also an incredible opportunity.
And who knows what we might find?
That's the beauty of it. The unknown is full of possibilities. Maybe we find life unlike anything we've ever imagined. New technologies, new resources. Or maybe we just gain a deeper appreciation for how special our own planet is.
I love these deep dives. We start with a simple question and end up talking about the meaning of life and the future of humanity.
It shows the power of imagination. We can explore new ideas, push the boundaries of what we think is possible. And who knows, maybe someday this hypothetical scenario will become reality.
Okay. But we've been focusing on the positive. What about the potential downsides? The challenges or dangers of having Kepler-22b as a neighbor?
That's an important point. It wouldn't be all smooth sailing. There's a real chance for conflict, for competition over resources.
Like a cosmic gold rush, everyone fighting over a piece of Kepler-22b.
Exactly. We've seen what happens when countries fight over resources here on Earth. Imagine that happening on a planetary scale.
Yikes. Okay, what else?
We have to think about the cultural impact, too. Discovering extraterrestrial life, even if it's just microbes, could be really unsettling for some people. It could challenge their beliefs, their sense of identity. It might lead to social unrest, maybe even a rise in religious extremism.
It's like the old saying, be careful what you wish for. We might want to find alien life, but are we really prepared for what it might mean?
It's a question we need to take seriously, especially if we're serious about exploring other planets. Contact with another civilization, even on a microbial level, could have huge and unpredictable consequences.
It makes you realize that space exploration isn't just about rockets and science. It's about ethics and philosophy. It's about understanding what it means to be human.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We can't just rush out into the cosmos without thinking about the impact on ourselves and any life we might find out there.
This deep dive has been intense, but I like how we're really digging into the complexities of this situation.
That's the whole point, to go beyond just the facts, to explore the what-ifs. It's about sparking our curiosity and expanding our thinking.
Well said. Welcome back for the final part of our Kepler-22b deep dive.
We've covered a lot of ground so far.
Yeah, from its basic stats to the big cultural and philosophical questions, it's been pretty mind-blowing.
It really has. So for this last part, I thought we could look ahead.
Okay, to the future.
Yeah. Like, what could the long-term outlook for humanity be with a planet like Kepler-22b right next door?
All right, I'm ready to time travel. Give me the long view.
Well, if history is any indication, humans are pretty curious and driven. I think we'd find a way to get to Kepler-22b eventually. It's just a matter of when and how.
So you're thinking colonies, spaceports, maybe even Kepler-22b becoming a vacation spot?
Those might seem like sci-fi ideas now, but they're not impossible. We've already sent robots to Mars, and we're talking about sending humans there soon.
Yeah.
So Kepler-22b, especially if it's habitable, would be an even more exciting destination.
I can picture the travel ads now. Experience the blue sunsets of Kepler-22b, or go zero gravity diving in the Keplerian Sea.
Ha ha ha. That's a fun image.
Yeah.
But even if space tourism is a long way off, I think we definitely see scientific outposts, research stations popping up. It would be an incredible opportunity to study a whole new world up close.
And who knows what we might find? New life forms, new resources, maybe even technology that could benefit us all.
Exactly. Kepler-22b could be a treasure trove of scientific discoveries. It could change our understanding of biology, geology, even physics.
Okay, but let's not get carried away. Getting to another planet, even one relatively close, is still a huge challenge. We're talking about overcoming major technological hurdles, not to mention the cost.
You're right. It wouldn't be easy or cheap. But we've seen time and again that humans can accomplish amazing things when we set our minds to it. And I think the potential rewards of Kepler-22b would be more than enough motivation.
I can imagine it now. Huge international collaborations, enormous spaceships, Generations of scientists dedicating their lives to unlocking the secrets of this new world. It would be a defining moment in human history.
It would usher in a new era of exploration, a real test of our ingenuity and our ability to work together on a global scale.
But as we've talked about, it's not just about science and technology. There are those ethical and philosophical questions too, like how do we make sure we don't harm any life on Kepler-22b? How do we prevent conflict over resources?
You're raising some crucial points. We can't just repeat the same mistakes we've made here on Earth. We have to approach Kepler-22b and any other planet we encounter with respect and responsibility.
So it's not just about getting there. It's about what we do when we arrive. We need to be good stewards of this new world and of our own future.
Absolutely. We need to understand that we're part of something much bigger than ourselves, something that goes beyond our planet. It's about finding our place in the universe and acting accordingly.
This whole conversation has been so thought-provoking. It's amazing how a simple what-if question can lead to such profound insights.
I agree, it's what makes these deep dives so fascinating.
Well said. So as we wrap up our exploration of a solar system with Kepler-22b as our neighbor, what's the key takeaway for our listeners?
I think the biggest takeaway is that the universe is full of wonder and mystery.
Yeah.
There's so much out there that we don't know, so much left to explore. And who knows, maybe someday a planet like Kepler-22b will be more than just a thought experiment. It could become a reality that changes the course of human history.
And that's a thought that should inspire us all, to keep looking up at the stars with a sense of awe and wonder. Thanks for joining us on this journey. Until next time, keep exploring.